let's appreciate uh, how fucked up the problem is. Pardon my French. If one studies political science or history, and one studies eras of political transition, turbulence, and turmoil, the textbook picture, even if it's oversimplification, the textbook picture is that some group, a revolutionary group or a military junta, plenty of other examples of groups that organize around the idea that the powers that be in the status quo is an oppressive authority structure, and it is to be done away with en bloc, in toto, no remainder, tabula rasa, start over, from scratch. Come up with a new name for the society. Somebody get your kids to propose some designs for the new flag, right? Get your friend who has a law degree to write some fancy sounding sentences and put a fancy sounding title at the top, like the declaration of post absurd capitalist clowns, right? And write some fancy legalese and have it printed and distribute it and say, tabula rasa, voila, sui generis, welcome to the new society. We have a whole new system to tell you about, right? And so the traditional picture is framed as sort of like the loyalists who defend the historical order, and the revolutionists or the revolutionaries. In our situation we find ourselves presently in, instead what we find is what? We find, beyond question, the notion of one originary, authentic meaning of United States of America, one flag, one Statue of Liberty, one Mount Rushmore, one White House, all the rest. One originary, uniform, continuous meaning. And you have two opposing sides, political camps, trying to compete for that originary symbolic meaning itself. Somehow, so, of course, the blue team is in favor of legalism and de jure objective reason, and the place that has in the founding as framed by the founders in the Declaration and the Constitution. And why don't we throw Federalist Papers in there? Why not? Nobody disputes the significance of Federalist Papers. De jure account, pure reason. Welcome to the United States. Now, from the perspective of somebody in Akron or Louisville or what are some other serious manufacturing, legacy, mechanical engineering, no bullshit, Ohio, Nebraska, Iowa, Oklahoma, Texas, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Idaho, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona. See, it's a big country. It's a big country. 70% of US GDP was manufacturing. That goes into even like 1960s, I believe. 60 to 70% of US GDP was manufacturing. Now it's barely between 20 and 30%. I would be surprised if it's even 20%. It sounds too big to me. And the bulk of GDP is what? Now in the United States? Services. What's that mean? Financial services. What's that mean? Wall Street. One way or another, 70% of GDP now, if not more, is Wall Street GDP. It's literally numbers on a computer screen, GDP. So, if the de jure constitutional regime, after 250 years, has produced the powers that be and the status quo, showing a certain authority structure where what was once the essence of United States productivity, qua manufacturing, is literally sold out in favor of Wall Street fuckery, literally in favor of accounting tricks and mathematical experiments with derivatives of derivatives of derivatives of derivatives, right? Nobody can keep track of it anymore. Everybody's instrument is insured by everybody else's instrument. And then when the whole thing collapses, everybody looks at everybody else and says, hey, my holdings are insured, pay me. And then they look at you and they say, that's funny, you sold me insurance. And everybody scratches their head and says, well, wait a second, where's the equity? Where's the backstop? Where's the buck stopper? Oh. And the tide goes out and everybody was swimming naked, except Warren Buffett. So your fancy fucking constitution produced this authority structure? Your laws, your rule of law, your equality, and so on, that's what we get? Well, how about this? My ancestors came over on them. I'm putting in quotation marks. This is hypothetical. From the perspective of, let's say Akron, Ohio. I say Akron because, I'm a huge Devo fan, and I've never been to Akron, but I have a romanticism about Akron, so, I have highest respect for Akron, Ohio, and Youngstown. Ottomo down in Youngstown, bodies in the street. Ottomo down, noon in downtown, bodies with no feet. So, the foregoing is my way of trying to demonstrate that I don't pull Akron out of a hat. Who's the baseball team? Is it the Rubber Ducks? The Akron Rubber Ducks? Now I will speak personally. My great-grandmother, Fanny Hill Gillespie of Laramie, Wyoming, slept with a pistol under her pillow. And she it's unfortunate because it's really sad, but for those of you that know, and I always forget it, Fanny Hill or Fanny Hall. One of them is a very famous Victorian era pornographic text. It's either Fanny Hill or Fanny Hall. Anyway, and then there's Annie Hall. That's a famous 20th century pornographic text. Good job, Dimitri. I digress. Okay, Fanny, let's call her Fanny. My great-grandmother, peace be upon her, she loved people. She was so gregarious. Everybody loved Fanny. And she loved poetry. She was a ranch matriarch. She ran a ranch of like 20 ranch hands or whatever, like widow. Don't fuck with the matriarch. For real. She would round up the family in the car and let's drive to Mexico. And they would drive into Mexico and she, with her pistol, and she's shooting her pistol out the window and taking target practice at varmints running across the brush, the Mexican brush. Oh, my great-grandmother. So that's like Mayflower white people mythos, right? They called apparently in Laramie, my mother said that they used to talk about those hippie long hairs. you know. Presbyterian, Protestantism, my mom's father, Swedish. Her mother comes from the Scots-Irish. All kinds of Protestantism. Fuck your elites. I'll read my Bible, thank you very much. Fuck your elites. Now, don't take this the wrong way. If you say, yeah, I'm a Protestant because I read my own Bible, I don't need the priest to read it for me. You actually have to be able to read the Bible. And that doesn't mean that you can produce the sounds when you look at the words. No. Did you pay attention in Sunday school? Did you ever take a comparative religion course? Are you able to read the Bible? If you want to stand on a blood and soil Protestant ground, then I guess we'll look at the Bible. But then that's just like the U.S. Constitution, right? What is the Bible? It's the de jure word. Welcome to rationalism. Ultimately, this is not a game for who gets to keep the United States flag. This is a game for rational legitimacy itself.